If you've ever bought a cheap, 12-inch pellet grill off a marketplace and spent an afternoon waiting for the fire to catch, only to end up with uneven heat and a half-cooked steak, you know the kind of buyer's remorse that can turn a backyard experiment into a budget blowout. That disappointment is the exact reason I'm looking at the Kamado Joe Pellet Joe grill today. It promises to be the kind of smarter buy that actually delivers on the hype, instead of leaving you scrambling for a backup plan. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The first thing I thought about when I saw the Pellet Joe was the whole, all-in-one promise. It's not just a grill, it's a smoker, a convection oven, and a portable kitchen hub rolled into a ceramic-wrapped dome. The question I kept asking myself was simple. Does that convenience translate into day-to-day reliability, or is it another over-engineered toy that only looks good on the shelf? That's the hesitation that holds most of us back. We've seen the cheap models break down, the mid-range ones flare up with temperature spikes, and the premium ones that cost a small fortune still require a learning curve that feels more like a science project than a weekend cookout. I spent a weekend actually firing this thing up in my patio. The setup is as straightforward as you'll find in a pellet grill of this size. The cart rolls out, the steel hopper slots into place, and the Wi-Fi module pairs with the Kamado Joe app in a matter of minutes. I was able to set the temperature to 375 for a chicken leg quarter, and the app confirmed the dome was holding steady within a couple of degrees. That kind of thermostatic control is a real advantage if you're trying to nail a low and slow brisket without constantly hovering over a dial. It also means you can walk away for a bit and trust the grill to stay on target, something that cheap alternatives just can't promise because they lack a feedback loop. Now, the practical strengths start to show up once you move beyond the first heat up. The 250 square inch cooking area is enough for a modest family dinner. I could roast a whole 12-pound turkey, lay a few racks of ribs on the side shelves, and still have room for a pizza stone. The stainless steel grates stay flat even after a couple of hours at 600 so you don't have to wrestle with warped metal when you're trying to get those perfect grill marks. The air lift hinge, which reduces the dome's weight, makes opening the grill feel almost effortless. That matters when you're juggling a basting brush, a thermometer, and a tray of veggies. You're not fighting a heavyweight lid every time you need to peek. One of the hidden trade-offs is the reliance on Wi-Fi. In my neighborhood, the signal is solid, but I've heard from a few owners that if you're on a dead zone, the app can become a nuisance rather than a help. In those cases, you're back to manual adjustments, which the grill still handles fine, but you lose the convenience of remote monitoring. It's something to weigh if your backyard is tucked behind a lot of trees or you're planning to use the grill at a campsite where power isn't guaranteed. Another point that came up during my test run was the pellet hopper capacity. 10 pounds sounds generous, but if you're planning a marathon smoking session, think a whole side of pork shoulder that takes 8 hours. You'll need to keep an eye on the feed. The hopper sits on the cart, and while the powder-coated steel is resistant to rust, it does add a bit of bulk. If you have limited storage space, you'll need to think about where that cart will live when it's not in use. Who should buy the Pellet Joe? If you're a backyard chef who enjoys experimenting with different wood flavors, wants consistent temperature without the guesswork, and values the ability to monitor your cook from a phone, this grill fits like a glove. It also makes sense for families that need a versatile cooking surface. You can grill burgers, smoke ribs, and bake a dessert all on the same dome without swapping equipment. The app integration is a real time saver for anyone who likes to multitask, whether that means grilling while watching a game or prepping a side dish indoors. Who should skip it? First, anyone who's looking for a massive commercial-grade smoker will find the 250 skin. Footprint limiting. If you're feeding a crowd of 20 plus on a regular basis, you'll outgrow the cooking area quickly. Second, if you're a purist who prefers a fully manual experience, the kind of grill where you control airflow with a knob and read the meat by feel, the digital interface might feel like unnecessary clutter. Lastly, budget-driven shoppers should note that while the Pellet Joe isn't cheap, it sits in a price band where cheaper models might suffice for occasional use. If you only fire it up a few times a year, you might be better off with a simpler pellet grill.